How do you measure success? In points? In wins? Or trophies? At Shelter Insurance, we measure success in the quality of our products and services, in our community support, in being there when you need us most. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
For auto, home, life, or business insurance, come see me, Agent Janine Blankenship in Effingham.
So today we're here with
Jessica Reeder.
Jessica. Where did you go to high school and where did you graduate?
I'm from Flora, Illinois, so I went to Flora High School and I graduated in 2002.
What sports did you play in high school?
I was a cheerleader for the Flora Wolves, and then I also participated in competitive tumbling and competitive dance.
Where did you go to college?
I went to the University of Illinois.
What made you decide that school?
Sure. I decided that I wanted to go to the U of I in first grade. My parents took us to a Fighting Illini basketball game, and I saw the cheerleaders performing during the game, and there's a stunt called a diamond head. And it's basically where there's a person on bottom and then a person on top and then two girls that hang off the sides. And I saw them doing that across the gym floor. And I told my parents, I'm going to do that. That's what I want to be as an Illini cheerleader. So since first grade, that's where I wanted to go. And being part of the cheerleading team is what I wanted to do.
So you were an Illini cheerleader. What is the process of becoming a U of I cheerleader?
Sure. It's kind of evolved through the years. I guess I forgot to mention I cheered for 4 years for Illinois, and then I also had the privilege of coaching for 7 years. So I've been on kind of both sides of the tryout process. When I tried out, it was a 2-day process where you applied to try out. You went up on Saturday, and there were all different clinics that you did, and they made a cut after each clinic. And then on Sunday was final tryouts, and then they announced it. Who the team was that day. As technology has grown and become more of our daily life, that application process is now online. Mm-hmm. So applicants submit a video of their different skills. There's different skills required for the boys and the girls. So they submit that video, and then they're asked to come to tryouts from their video. And then, so we've been able to narrow it down to a 1-day process instead of the full weekend process.
Oh, that's really interesting. How many members were on the cheerleading squad?
It kind of depended year to year. I would say average was about 30, and at that time it was equal numbers of boys and girls. So we were a full co-ed team. Like I said, there's been changes through the years. The program's grown with the times, and there's now a co-ed group, and then there's an all-girl group. So it just kind of highlights the different talents that the athletes have, and not just narrowing it down to the co-ed.
Did you have a cheerleading coach, and who was it?
Sure. Yes, we absolutely had a head coach, and then had some assistant coaches through the years. The head coach, her name is Stephanie Record. She is a wonderful, wonderful lady. She has given me many, many opportunities through the years as far as being an athlete and being a coach and being able to travel and trusting me with some different things with the program. She is, this is a fun fact, the longest running head coach at the University of Illinois. So she's made quite a name for herself, and it's cool to go back and get to see her.
How often did you practice and how long?
Sure. We practiced, it was typically 3 days a week for 3 hours at a time. We practiced 6 to 9 each evening. And then we were required to lift weights 3 times a week. And then part of the program when you were younger was attending study tables. You had to do that 6 hours a week. As you kind of got older, got the hang of college and all of that, the study tables weren't required anymore. And then games on top of all of that. Football season is a little bit easier because it's just the games on Saturday. If you travel, you leave on Friday and then you come back on Saturday. During basketball season, we actually cheer home men's and women's basketball games, so it can get a little dicey there, especially November when football and both men's and women's basketball is going on. It's kind of a lot to cover sometimes, but we do all home games and special away games. So like we used to do the United Center game when they did that, the Mizzou game, and then all tournament games we're able to travel to.
How did you balance your studies with cheerleading?
It's just what you had to do. You know, I think going from a high school athlete, I was very involved in everything. So time management was always something that I had to prioritize, so it didn't change when I went to college. I think it was really nice having those study tables to begin with, that you had to go to this location and actually study instead of like staying in your dorm room. And they had some wonderful services. They had free tutoring, and a big deal is always free printing that they offered. So it was nice to have those services available too.
Did the cheerleading squad interact with players such as Dee Brown, Darren Williams, and Luther Head?
Sure. We were together, you know, at different events. So there's different, like we call them PR events. So things that you have to show up to, or I guess get to show up to. So they were there. They had to do study tables as well. So we saw them at the academic center. The weight room was another place that we interacted. But you know, basketball season's a busy season, and so you see them on campus. You recognize each other. So yeah, we did know each other.
What about Coach Bruce Weber and his assistants?
Sure. I mean, we saw them at games, but a really cool fact is Coach Weber was the basketball coach when I was there, but then when I got to coach for Illinois cheerleading, his daughter Emily was one of my athletes on the team. So it was just a really cool thing that, you know, the year we went to the Final Four, she was just a little girl and, you know, someone that we talked to all the time, and then it was really cool to get to be your coach after that.
Describe the excitement in the assembly hall during home games.
Sure. There's not many things like it. We always joked how cold it was when we were warming up prior to the game, and then all of a sudden the doors opened and all the people kind of flooded in, and it warmed up in a hurry. It was just, it was electrifying. There's really not words to describe the feeling in there. It was loud, it was crazy, everyone was involved, and it was just fun.
List some memorable home games.
I think the most memorable one would be the Wake Forest game, where the team was able to become number one after that game. I think all along it was like, oh, we're going to be good this year. We're going to be good this year. And then finally that game happened, and it was a great game, and we were able to come out and be number one after that, and it was really cool.
That was the game that they beat Chris Paul.
Yes.
That was awesome. Describe the excitement of winning the Big Ten tournament in Chicago.
Sure. I will say the tournaments that whole year, they were just so close to Champaign that it was really cool, the backing that Illinois had at all of the tournament games. At each tournament location, we have a home bar that we go to. And so the band and cheerleaders do a pep rally before each game at that home location. And it was just incredible to walk into these places. I mean, some of them, like I said, we had guide partners. So some of them, it was so packed that all of us couldn't walk through. So they'd have to put us up on their shoulders and, you know, walk through the establishment. And yeah, it was just the whole atmosphere of everything. It was, you know, riding the bus into the stadium. There were always fans down the road, and those events were really cool. And then we got to do different like news programs in the mornings too. So our days were pretty full, but it was a really, really neat experience.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Being the number one seed in the NCAA tournament, talk about the excitement on campus.
It was nuts. So the timing of everything, we had the Big Ten tournament, and then we were there for a week, and then we went on spring break. So students weren't really around for a lot of it. But it was just, everyone was wearing orange and blue and, basketball shirts. And you see a lot of Illinois clothes as you're walking around campus, but I felt like it was even more at that time. But it was kind of crazy because we would leave and then we would travel all weekend. So then those times that we were home, it was like hardcore. We have to hit the books and, get everything taken care of. And like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday that we're there and be able to travel again.
The Illini's quest for the NCAA title started in Indianapolis. The Illini won the first and second round games over Fairleigh Dickinson and Nevada. Any memories you'd like to share from that?
It's a personal memory from it. Just going in, it's such a big stadium, and all of a sudden, my mom and sister called and said, we got tickets, we're coming to the game. Like, oh, okay. And so we go in, and we know each other's families. And so we're in there and we're kind of looking around, and they put up a curtain to divide the stadium in half. And everyone just kept saying, I can't believe that your mom and sister got tickets for this. And so we're looking for this section. All of a sudden we look over and like, here's the curtain and they're over here behind the curtain. And so they had to work their way over to actually be able to see the game. But it was just a funny memory to think back, and yes, we finally got tickets, and yeah, you're behind the curtain.
That's funny, wow. The Illini's third and fourth round games were played in Chicago. The Illini beat Milwaukee and Arizona. How exciting was that?
It was incredible. Oh my gosh, it was just incredible is really the only way to describe it. It's really weird to watch the videos now, and I know how it plays out. I get goosebumps and I still get nervous, and it's just it is a little different because you know the players personally and you know your team personally, so it's not just these people. They're real people, and their emotions are in it too, and it was so cool to watch it all play out, see what the crowd was like. I have never heard anything so loud as what that stadium was like between regulation and overtime. Just to go out on the floor, luckily we were able to go out on the floor that time. The team switched back and forth, and so our band was playing, all of our fans were up on their feet, and it was really, really neat. And then when we got on the bus to come home, so the band and cheerleaders take a bus, and then the players have a bus. So our bus took off first, and as we were getting closer to Champaign, every overhead on the interstate had emergency vehicles out, and their lights were going and fans were there. They had signs, and it was so cool. It was like the whole state was into it. And so, as we got closer to Champaign, more and more people were there. And then they had set up a pep rally at the Ubben complex. So we get there and there's thousands and thousands of people. Like, they're just probably 20 people deep and all the way around. They had roped off, and so the band gets out and we get out and we're performing, and then the team comes up, and I have goosebumps now, just thinking about it. And I mean, it was like midnight. It was really late at night. And I remember driving home after that. That was on a Saturday, and it was Easter Sunday the next day. And I remember talking to my mom, and she said, "Are you sure you're okay to drive the 2 hours home?" I'm like, yes, I am totally hyped up. I am completely fine. But it was like 2 a.m, and it was just nuts. It was kind of like a dream, to look back on it.
That game was talked about as one of the best comebacks in NCAA basketball history. I had to ask you this question.
Sure.
Did you ever meet Bill Murray at the game?
Yes. Yep.
What was that like?
He came around quite a bit during the tournament, and he always would come up and get a picture with us, and he would kind of show up at the different pep rallies too, and I mean, he was a nice guy, and it was just one of those like, oh my gosh, he's a star, you know, coming to watch Illinois basketball.
The Final Four was in St. Louis. The Illini beat Louisville to advance to the national championship game against North Carolina. What were your emotions and thoughts?
I think after the Louisville game, I was like, oh my gosh, it's finally happening. You know, you talk all season about how great this team is and how special they are. And, you know, being part of sports, we all know, you know, one game and it's over. And it was just leaving the stadium that night after the Louisville game and getting on the bus and going back to the hotel, like, oh my gosh, this is real. We are going to the national championship game. Who would have ever thought? And, you know, personally thinking about it, like, I'm this girl from Flora, Illinois. Like, Flora's a small town. And, you know, to get to have those experiences and, you know, be able to represent the University of Illinois, how cool is that? And just some really, really lifelong memories that were made from that.
What has cheerleading done to change your life?
Wow. I think I approach everything that I do from a team aspect, and I really think that I get that from cheerleading. You know, you're only so good by yourself, but I think one of my strengths is I surround myself with some really great people, and I've been able to build a really fantastic team around myself to not only bring out my best qualities, but to help me achieve any goals or any dreams that I've ever had. But I think a lot of that comes from cheerleading.
What advice would you give to today's youth about cheerleading?
Sure. I think go for it. I think try it out. And it's not always what you think it's going to be. It's a lot more athletic. It's a lot more demanding than what I think a lot of people would realize. I think they just, I think the misconception is, oh, you're just leading cheers. And you always hear the cliche, cheerleading's not a sport and all of that kind of stuff. I will absolutely go to bat fighting for that one. Cheerleaders are 1,000% athletes, and the things that I guess I was asked to do as an athlete and what I've asked my athletes to do as a coach, it's really incredible to, you know, look at, oh my gosh, look what we're doing now. And but I think look at the bigger picture of cheerleading, that it's all about being a team. It's all about representation and being proud of who you are representing. You know, we always talk about, look who's on the front of your uniform. That's a big deal, and you should be really, really proud of that. So having the opportunity to represent your school in that fashion, I think is a really big thing.
What is your current occupation?
I am the special education coordinator and school psychologist for the Sullivan School District.
And how long have you been doing that?
I have been with the Sullivan School District for 10 years as a school psychologist. I transitioned into the assistant principal 3 years ago and did that for 2 years, and then this is my first year as the special ed coordinator.
What do you enjoy so much about it?
I love the district. When I talk about team, seriously, we operate as a team. Everything that we do, our administrative team, it truly is a team. Our special ed staff, we truly operate as a team. I feel like the job that I have was specifically created with my strengths. So that's really cool to be able to say, like, holy cow, this is like the perfect job for me. You know, I get to go and work with some really, really cool students and some really great families. And since I've been there long enough, I know them now. You know, working with a family for 10 years is a long time. So just being able to make those connections with the family is really neat.
Who are some of your biggest role models?
My family, for sure. You know, my mom, dad, and my sister. They've always supported my dreams, no matter how crazy they may be. You know, a first grader saying, I want to be an Illini cheerleader. They absolutely always supported any of the crazy dreams that I've had. They've been there to celebrate when those dreams and projects went well, and they've been there to help me out when they didn't go so well. I think when I think about coaches, I had some wonderful tumbling coaches growing up who were some great role models to me and helped shape that work ethic and the drive that I had to be better. Stephanie, my cheerleading coach from Illinois, absolutely has shaped me into who I am. Like I said, she's given me a lot of opportunities and put a lot of trust in me through the years. I think who I work with, I have some really great role models who, Sullivan School District's motto is putting kids first, and I see that every single day. It's not just something that is written on a sign. It really is what we believe in and the actions that I see every day. And Chet, for sure, he has been extremely supportive through the years. Same thing, I've had some of these crazy dreams, and he absolutely go for it, Jess. And the hard work and the dedication that he puts into what he does is contagious. Through all of this, he, our life has been kind of crazy the last few years. We moved a couple times and, moved from Sullivan to here and switched jobs. And, he's been getting his master's and through all of that as well. And so to watch him be able to separate work and home has been really incredible. And then I think our girls too, they make me want to be a better person and to want to work harder. And I really hope that I can instill in them that you can be strong and go after your goals while still being a good person and, being compassionate with others.
Is there anything else you would like to share, Jessica?
Oh my goodness. I think after all that, I think what I want people to know, and the biggest thing is no goal is out of reach. It just takes the hard work that you have to put into it. So reach for the stars, and no dream is too big. It's just if you're willing to put in the work for it.
I really enjoyed hearing your story, Jessica. That was awesome.
Well, thank you. This was fun.
Thank you for your time and talking with me.
Sure.